It has always been my desire to be an artist. But growing up as a child, I never really thought an artist can make it here in this part of the world. In the university, I wanted to study law. I kept trying for over 2 to 3 years. And every time I tried getting admission, it wasn't coming in for me. Finally, I tried 2 years in University of Nigeria in Nsukka. I came back to Port Harcourt, tried 1 year in UST. I couldn't get the admission. So finally, I felt, well, let me try Uniport. Then I decided to do related course. I put in for political science. Even though my heart, I wanted to study creative arts, I still went in for political science because I was looking down on creative art. But when I got to the University of Port Harcourt, I applied for the first time. I was given admission to study political science, but when it was time for me to resume as a political science student, I was told my papers were not complete, that a particular subject was missing. And then the university gave me 42 options to pick from. So I saw music, I saw creative art, I saw so many other subjects, but I was like, well, I'm already into music. And as long as I keep relating with my fellow musicians and then keep doing my music life will be growing. But if I let go of the creative arts, it will die off. So that was where I said, okay, I never thought because I didn't do creative art in my secondary school. I felt I wasn't qualified to even study that in the university. So when I came across it in my list given to me by University of Port Harcourt, I was like, wow, so I can actually study this. I went into creative arts. I came in at a point when the current final year when I got into the university was having their project defense. So I came in, I started seeing works. My mind opened up, and that was the first time. Initially when I came into the university, I thought creative art was all about painting and sculpting. But when I came, I saw ceramics. That was the first thing I saw. It was glittering. They were shiny because of the glaze. I never knew anything about that. So I was like, wow, what is this? They said it's ceramics. I said, this is under creative art. They said yes. And I saw textile, I saw graphics, I saw so many. I saw it in a different dimension, unlike what I know, because I came with the intention that I wanted to be a painter. But then I started asking questions about ceramics, and then when they kept telling me, my interest started growing. It was just that simple, shiny stuff. They were just like balls I saw. I started thinking about it since then. Whenever I hear about clay, I'm happy, honestly. And I'm not trying to exaggerate. I'm really happy when I hear about clay. Clay it's friendly, it's flexible, it's obedient. If you're a potter, you understand why the Bible always, it'll be like, you are the potter, Lord, and I'm the clay. Clay is so flexible. I'm sure you observed while I was walking. If I twist the clay, it goes. As long as that clay is a plastic one, it just follows you. And the feeling of clay is another experience. It's a different experience. I can work with clay from morning till evening and not get tired. The process, it depends on the particular technique I'm using. Now, it's sometimes I use the wheel throne, the throne method, where I work on the potter's wheel, and then sometimes I work that I use the hand-built method. Sometimes I use both. I use both composite. I use both method. Now, if I'm working on the potter's wheel, first of all, I have to knead my clay. Knead my clay. Make sure it's plastic enough. It's fit for handling. Then when I'm done kneading my clay, I could put it on the potter's wheel and start my work. And then I allow to dry when I'm done. It needs to dry first, but not completely dry. It needs to be plastic, rubber-like, just so I can apply whatever design, whatever design I want to apply on it. But then, if I'm using the hand-built method, I can choose to work with a slab method. I can make use of a coil method. You know, most times people walk into a studio and every morning, like me for instance, if you walk into my studio every morning, you will meet something new. And people are like, how do you come up with your ideas? Just like you're asking now, and you're like, don't you run out of ideas? Trust me, myself, I definitely will run out of ideas. But there is a way out. You just relate with your environment. If you look around you, you see lots of designs, limitless designs. Looking at this verse now, I actually saw this on a dress. Saw a lady wore a dress, and the dress had this. And somehow, looking at her hips, it just rested. I was like, this hips is just like the shape of a verse. And this dress, this design is just resting on the verse and the rest. That's how I came up with this. Now, what I did here was, you know the normal palm wine jar. I got the palm wine jar, then I got a leaf, just made a composition with it. There is a bird standing up here. And then I think there's a lizard somewhere. This is actually something I'm designing for a palace. This is the first design I came up with. I wasn't satisfied. I did this one. Still developing it. But whatever I'm doing, I have to follow the rules. Because if I don't follow them properly, the works might not survive. While I was walking outside this morning, the leaves, the edges were standing. I had to curve it. Now, curving it gives it more chance to survive. If that work is dried now and it still is the way it was, if anything, yes, it can easily break off. So I consider a lot of things while working. Early this year, I lost ceramic wares worth 1.6 million naira. A project I've been working on for the past 3 years now. I actually allowed them to get to the bone dry stage, which is actually my mistake. I shouldn't have allowed it to dry to that extent, so that if there is any disaster on the way, I can always adjust and fix them, because as long as it's not dry, you can always work on it. But while I was transporting the clay, the works to Bayelsa, we got into lots of potholes, and before we got to Bayelsa, more than half of the wares were already damaged. That was really, really painful. But it really breaks my heart that here in Rivers State, we have lots of professionals, doctors, professors in the field of ceramics. And yet, we don't have a functional ceramic studio. Maybe there is one they just put up that I don't know of yet, but I really don't know of any that I can boast of. From what I know, there has been some in the past, but it's not functional. currently. Some of this work, I did it in Enugu State. That's how much I love what I do. I did it in Enugu State. I went to Lagos. I was to do some there, but considering the distance, because over there in Lagos I think it's much easier to do the work because you have people specializing in all angles of this ceramics. If you need a kiln, somebody next door owns a kiln. If you need this material, it's just scattered around you. And outside that, there are lots of persons doing it because it's much easier for them due to the manpower around and the studios around. Hello, I am Beeka Nudee Nwinbere. I'm a ceramist, and this is Behind the Magic on News Central TV.